wanted to work with Rebel Wilson. I wanted to make a comedy with Rebel since I first saw her in Bridesmaids. And I was just, and so when the opportunity showed up, and then it was, oh, and we're playing con women, and we get to be in in the French Riviera, and we get to wear fabulous clothes, and there's a million accents. Then it got better. But it was just to work with her. Rebel's a pretty formidable talent, so I always wanted to make sure that I knew my lines, I knew what I wanted to do with the character, my accent was sorted, my costumes were, everything was sorted. And then once we kind of were there and they yelled action, that's when we really started to have fun. We kind of had the fun on screen and then like kept it really pro behind the scenes. But by the time we got to Mallorca, we let our hair down. It's actually funny enough, you would think that I would feel the need to up my comedic game, but actually it was more about not trying to be like Rebel. And we had a conversation about it at the beginning where we said, we're not funny in the same way, but we're funny in complementary ways. So I felt like as long as I didn't try to compete with her and she didn't try to compete with me and we were just trying to support each other, it was all gonna work out, and I'm really proud of the results.
And I just thought there's a really good rationale for gender flipping this classic comedy story that's been told a few different ways over the past few decades. And I thought, well, now's the time for two women to take over and con the dirty, rotten men who have been conning women for years. So it really made sense to me, and I'm sure the fans will really like it. My character Penny is also she's kind of similar to me. She's very confident, a brash young lady. But I got to play different characters within playing Penny, because with the cons you can play different personas, and I play Hortense and Blind Penny in the movie, and that's like really, really, really fun to do. I think Anne Hathaway is like the most versatile actress. She can do comedy, drama, singing. Like, she's so amazingly talented, and I feel so lucky that she agreed to do this with me. We had a great time filming the movie, and she's the best. The biggest thing about this film is that it's fun, funny, and fabulous. Like, that's it, guys. This one is just an entertaining romp set in the south of France, and I think you guys are going to really...
The engine of the comedy of this movie is an amazingly sophisticated world is invaded by a chaotic kind of, just a chaotic presence. And so you have to make, for that to work, you have to make the world as sophisticated as you possibly can. So we made sure that Annie's outfits were amazing. She wears Alexa Chung and Vivienne Westwood. That's my favourite one. She wears this incredible Vivienne Westwood white suit with this wide-brimmed hat. It's astonishing. We made everything, look, we found the most amazing house we possibly could on Mallorca, and then we reconstructed it in a studio in London. Just had to make the whole thing feel as warm as possible. And then the best bit was that by the time it was freezing in London, we were jetting off to the Mediterranean to film our exteriors. Couldn't be better. The funny thing is, when I sort of first heard about the project from Jack, the idea of a new take on a beloved classic, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and I went, oh, okay. And she said, with Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway, and you go, oh, okay, because immediately you see what that is. Like, they look great together. It somehow just visually works. They have this insane chemistry. They're a proper double act where they're both funny, and they're funny for different reasons, and they ping off each other so beautifully. It was just a joy to watch.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is actually a remake of an earlier movie called Bedtime Stories. Both of those movies featured men. They were men's stories, and we're doing the same sort of high-class con artist, low-rent con artist, but this time it's women. I find it a little bit more entertaining that way. Well, it's a really interesting thing of how women manipulate men versus how men manipulate women, and with the women there's just a lot more sort of pageantry and sort of accents and wardrobe and more elaborate cons, and it's not just sort of guys in suits trying to convince ladies to do things. So it's just I find the watch more enjoyable. It's more of a vicarious thrill. Rebel and Anne, I mean, first of all, they just have really extraordinary chemistry. I mean, you hear their names together and you're like, yeah, that's awesome. I want to watch that movie. But they just play off each other so well, and Rebel's a very precise comedian, and Annie, it turns out, is an excellent improviser. So I think it was sort of surprising across the board how well they played off each other.
It does not go. Let me know.